Absolutely, yeah. Raul is here a little bit becoming, I feel like, the fan favorite. Was not on the radar of everyone, and now he's in the quarterfinals here, and people really love when surprises are happening. So really interested to see what he's delivering now in the top 8, and off we go with the Evan McMillan. Very dangerous here on the suffocation pit, and we are actually going to keep the shack pallet. Good strategy if you're asking me. We have the filler pallet here, also chaining further into a few windows so you can make a run back later if needed, and then you still have the shack as some sort of safety, but opting immediately to use the midsection of the map here, keeping the life, keeping that finesse that can be really strong. However, we have seen it can also really punish the players that are a little bit greeding too much, because then if you're getting unexpectedly injured and not taking the finesse value too often, that can also fall into your disadvantage. But so far he's looking strong. He seems like he's locked in, now zoned down towards the bottom, but we have stuff to work with here.
100%. I mean, we have a God Rock right here. You see Raul trying to play this around. Pedro going to have to continue to zone. Oh, a little bit of a mind game right there, but doesn't pull the trigger on that M1. That potentially could have been close enough. Maybe if you have a little bit of a ping advantage, definitely could have been a hit right there. Gonna break the pallet though, go all the way back to mid-map. I think the biggest thing is the longer you can delay, once you get to main, I feel like you do get quite a bit of time once you do get there. So it's all about trying to make as much time possible before you do get hit and run up to main. A little bit of a mind game one right there from Pedro. Does get the hit right here. Has the window potentially. I'm not sure where the pallet spawn. Oh, the pallet spawn right there. Okay, this is gonna be good. This will probably be a pretty long chase, but gonna opt to wait to use those resources. I'm actually very curious to see what the thought process here, but back into mid-map we go. This is I'm not sure how much longer. This is not the greatest tile to play against, and yeah, Pedro just walking it all the way down.
Yeah, interesting also, our players have opted to just change their BO3 picks here randomly. It was supposed and picked with the Wraith as set number 1, and now both players here just going in casually with Evan first. If they're both fine with that, so be it. But ladies and gentlemen, if you are confused from the overlay that you're seeing on the left side indicating the Wraith first, put your protest banners and your fireworks and whatever you plan to throw towards us, put it back into your backpack, and yeah, time to visit Pedro and Raul for this protest. Good chase, I would say. 2:17, definitely good when you are reaching over the 2-minute mark. I feel like that is very often like the magical mental model, right? You really want to go for more than 2 minutes. However, 2 minutes 17 is not absolutely the safe spot now, especially when you're going against a player like Pedro, who is known for his very insane survivor and all the chases. So I think Raul can be happy with what he achieved here, but it's not at all a guarantee for the next one. So he really needs to bring out an optimal Trapper performance.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, unlike all the other killers where you can use the power with the Trapper, it's literally just straight up fundamentals, and it's literally just about winning these mind games. From a survivor perspective, is just holding the right check spots. So I mean, it could be anyone's game for sure. Like you said, 2:17. Not necessarily the highest time or the best time that you can get, but definitely not the worst as well. I think if you're like a minute 30, like you probably had a really bad game. I think 2:17, like you said, is kind of average, maybe a little bit underneath average, depending on who you're asking. Obviously, you know, like as a casual 1v1 enjoyer, I'm spoiled to seeing all of the 5-minute chases that you see Pedro and Ivan do on Trappers. So obviously, seeing 2:17 is a little bit lower than what I've been seeing normally, but this is still, I mean, if you get good spawns, this potentially could be the first of potentially an upset win.
Yeah, let's find out what our Trapper can do against Pedro. We have seen him earlier actually knocking out the 5-minute mark here in this tournament, so here's a more than dangerous opponent that you can face. Raul seems to be ready to go. And Pedro is taking a moment. No, there he is. Was like he's preparing mentally for what's about to come. Definitely not the strongest RNG right next to the shack due to the hill that's blocking here a little bit. We have a few lanes. I think over there I saw a filler pallet. So definitely something that you can work with, and you might be fine around the shack area here. In this case, you can even grind the best time you can get out of the shack, sacrificing the pallet early, and then together with the life and finesse, making your way over towards the midsection and from there towards main. So should be something that Pedro can handle here, and he's opting to go for this filler pallet over here with life finesse. That shouldn't be an issue at all. Interesting enough though, our Trapper manages to zone him towards the outside, but the window is unfortunately for Evan rotated perfectly, so Pedro can take the benefit, now sacrificing happily the shack pallet and moving towards the midsection just as we anticipated. Playing a little bit around this pallet gym here, no problem for Pedro with the perfect check spots right there. And now you have the whole map in front of you, can even make it towards the main if needed. So pretty good looking here, and Pedro definitely opting for a good start.
Yeah, definitely had a really good start right there. Having Shack into Godrock and then using Shack window to combine that Godrock as well was so good. And I feel like that was a lot of time wasted for sure. Even if you do come back to this palette right here, obviously a 50-50, but I feel like regardless, that was a very, very good start for Pedro. Even if you don't make it all the way back up to main, you still have some resources at mid, and you have no, this is this another pretty good right here. Should be a hit though. No, the finesse being enough to actually you know, avoid that hit. Pedro still holding it down. Like you said, these on point check spots have been everything. This is why he's one of the best to do it for sure. But now right here comes you know, here comes the mind games right here potentially. Can you make something happen? But man, I mean, just right now, it hasn't even been hit yet. And so I say that finally makes it down. However, you're making it down, there's a hill, and then there's 2 broken pallets here. So there's not really a whole lot unless you can make it over here right behind this hill. And in which case, I think he does. So you actually do have quite a little bit right here to work with. Even if you do break this, though, you're kind of zoning Pedro here. Now, if you can, like, mind game your way to the window, like, maybe...
I'm not sure if... Did we lose my casting partner? I think we did. Yep, I think... Okay, I'm always very careful when my co-caster is dying because I'm living on a mountain. So whenever there's someone that I cannot hear anymore, I always assume that is me. And it's impressive to see that 1 out of 1 million times it is actually not me. So we are standing strong on the mountain here through wind and snow and ice. But yeah, that is going to be Pedro taking the very first set of this best of 3. Very, very strong performance here. Looking really confident, really good. Raul can definitely be happy with the performance, I feel like, considering we have this very, very strong opponent here. But yeah, it is going to be the one. Oh, and it seems like my casting partner who missed the most interesting part, the down of Pedro, is back. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think I'm back. Can you hear me? I don't know what happened. That's crazy. Literally.
Wait, you're back? You're back? I was supposed to cast with SSB. Where's back coming from?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Settle down, man. All right. Chat. I need y'all to flame Dyer for these dad jokes. He does not stop ever. And now we have other people coming in, dropping the dad jokes too. I saw Q earlier come in. I have my cross ready to go. You know what I'm saying? But nah, yeah, like you said, I missed the most eventful part of the chase, and that was Pedro going all the way to you know, to basically where he started. Right, there was no more pallets there anymore. But I mean, that was a really long chase. I think the fact that we just saw the beginning of that chase being you know, chaining Godrock into Shack, I think that was that probably was the beginning of the end right there for Raul. But Pedro doing a really good job hanging on, and now we are going to go over to the Wraith, like we predicted earlier, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The Wraith now coming out after, yeah, Pedro and Rocket not changing another killer set around without telling us. So it seems like now we have the agreement that Trapper was supposed to be first, and the Wraith is going to be the second one. Pedro over here. Scouting real quick, and should then quickly get ready on the shack, which he does here. But Philip, how is he called with last name? I don't remember exactly. But Philip seems to be a little bit sad about the RNG. At least he looked a little bit sad. So let's take a look what Pedro got here. For now, we are moving towards the outside a little bit, sneaking around the corner here. Is it going to be the first mind game in favor of Raul? It is not going to be that. Pedro is making it safely back towards the shack and drop the pallet now, even waiting a little bit. And this is the great thing about the Wraith, right? This little bit of a patience game. Who's hesitating quickly? Who's potentially pre-dropping the pallet 1 or 2 seconds earlier than needed, and this can really make the difference here in the quarterfinals. Pedro now on this filler pallet between the rock, going to expect that the Wraith is going to break it. Exactly that for the zoning. Now obviously more difficult position. Shack without the pallet here. Wraith needs to make a good mind game, doesn't manage to block the window, unfortunately. And now with the live, Pedro making again some distance, so might not even be the injury here.
Yeah, made a lot of distance right there and got the finesse lithe into Shack, which was able to make it over to this tile right here. You know, Raul was doing such a good job. Mind game right here potentially. Oh, and does get the stun too, so makes a little bit more distance, but still gonna play this tile around a little bit. Obviously, you can only keep looping to the pallet because that window's still blocked with Bamboozle. Finesse coming in, but this is a mind game, and Pedro won that anyways. I feel like when you play that pallet drop right there, I feel like 9 times out of 10 people get hit. Like it feels like such a really bad scenario for the survivors, but Pedro coming out without a scratch right there and still hanging on, still has the finesse kind of coming back slowly but surely. If you can get another finesse right here, but gets the fake, maybe wanting Raul to double back, maybe trying to eat the mind game, but you know, Raul doesn't take the bait right there. So you still have main right here. You still have a window, kind of moving around just so you don't get body blocked. But man, so far, I mean, Pedro's been, you know, playing this pretty well. This could potentially be a hit. No, you have a window there. Never mind.
Yeah, a little bit of a savior here for Pedro, who is now once again looking really strong, making the window here as well. Back and forth between the Wraith and Pedro is always leading to his win. Pallet again, and we are going round and round. Window once more here, but the Bloodlust is obviously kicking in. So how many turns can Pedro make? That's the big question here. The slow vault coming in, but that's going to be the read on that, and that's going to be the down right here. 2 minutes 40, around about 2:39 was the downtime here for Pedro. That's an impressive time though, because our players that we have here have shown such a strong performance when we are calling about, when we are talking about these mind games with a little bit of a speed boost that you get after uncloaking. And we have seen a lot quicker downs during the tournament. So 2 minutes 39 is a very impressive chase time, and that's actually a lot of pressure onto Raul now.
I think one of the big things that led to, you know, a lot more time wasted, obviously, when you run, I believe it's the Shadow Dance add-on with Wraith, where you break the pallets quicker when you're cloaked up. But if you can win the mind game with the, you know how sometimes you play chicken at the pallet and just baiting the uncloak or the cloak, and then timing the pallet drop in order to, you know, make Wraith break the pallet uncloaked, which is much, much slower, obviously. And I think we got that at Shack. So you already make distance at Shack when you drop that pallet, but then, you know, you usually can close it with Wraith when he's cloaked. Unfortunately, he kind of caught Raul uncloaked a little bit right there. That's why he made it to the God Rock relatively easily and was able to play around that still. And I think that's like maybe like an extra 10 seconds potentially, depending on who you ask. So can make it a lot more difficult for the Wraith to get those down. So Pedro going to be looking to get these pallet breaks with being fully cloaked 100% of the time. I think that's how you can cut the distance a lot more. Being smart with the bamboozle plays as well. Obviously, if you get that early tag onto Raul, you get rid of finesse as well, so it just makes it that much easier to deal with, even if the life lets Raul get away too.
Yeah, and he is now up for the run of his life, hopefully, right? Because if Raul is not going to deliver 2 minutes and 41 due to the 1 second rule that says if the players are only 1 second away from each other, then we are going to take the tie and have to replay the set. So 2:41 are needed here. Otherwise, it is going to be the goodbye from the tournament, and we have to unfortunately say farewell here. Going to play it safe, very understandable, but sacrificing the shack bullet early, and now you're not on the necessarily strongest tile, especially when there's going to be a successful vault mine game like Pedro is attempting right here. Does go for the walk around the pallet, and that's going to be the injury. A little bit too greedy there with the longer distance towards the pallet, didn't pick the safe and direct path, which would have forced him into a difficult 50-50, but now definitely taking the injury right here, and it's going to stay a little bit tricky. You are now going to be forced over towards this window, and that's going to be the very quick and unfortunate down. That is Pedro moving into the semi-finals with a difference of almost 2 minutes, 2:39 to 54 seconds. So congratulations to Pedro.